All right, everybody, how you doing today? This is Dr. Phil, and we're back again for another episode of Cal Chiro Live. Thanks so much for joining us. Super excited to bring you today's guest. But before we get started, I want to make a few quick announcements. As the majority of you know, we are coming up on our pediatric conference at the end of May here shortly. It is completely sold out. I'm doing my best right now to get the room size increased, hoping that we can add maybe another 10 to 15 people. Still waiting for some info coming up on the pediatric conference in Shell Beach. The room block is sold out. Does not look like we're going to be able to get that increased, but there's lots of properties right in and around there. There's Airbnbs. So if you can connect with some people and get a spot, I really would like to see you down there. The content's going to be tremendous. Looking at having a really good time down there, enjoying the property, enjoying the area. I know there's going to be some other fun things that's going on as well. Trying to put together a cocktail reception in the evening at a local place that Dr. Bronstein knows. Looks like it's a super cool place. I've never been there myself, so that's kind of exciting. Hopefully we can get a sponsor for that and get that one all buttoned up. But that's coming down the wire soon. In addition, we have our PI for All conference coming up in June 21st, I believe is the date of the PI conference. I'm getting super excited about that one too. Again, another super nice venue. If you get a chance to check out that property, you better book your room now because it's going to book up fast. Don't want you to miss out on the room block again. If you weren't able to get in on the cliffs this time, this Huntington Beach property is going to be super cool. I was meeting with a orthopedic surgeon yesterday about potentially coming and being a panelist there. And he knows the property. He's from down in that area. He's like, oh, both of you, that whole area is incredible. So make sure you get a chance to check that out. Get registered for that PI conference. That's going to really be a great networking opportunity for new graduates, people that are still in, people that are expecting to graduate, existing docs that do PI. A lot of great information that's going to be available at that. And then, as always, we're already starting to take signups for our fall conference coming up in Disneyland. I'm a huge Disney guy. I'm going to have to start looking at getting one of those season passes for Disney, and hope to see you there as well. That lineup's tremendous. But those are the things we have coming up. Stay in tune with your district events. Hopefully you're reading your weekly adjustment, which is our newsletter. Make sure that you're checking your promotions file or your folder to make sure that you're getting access to all of the information that's coming up. I know Riverside's got a billing and coding seminar coming up. We've got some things happening in Santa Clara soon. So make sure that you're checking all that stuff out. In addition, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, I would really appreciate that. It helps us to increase our algorithm exposure, and it just really helps us to get people aware of all the things that were going on. I know this has been a really big initiative over the last 6 or 7 months to help bring our community together, educate people, expose them to a lot of different content and people that I think are lifting up the profession. So without any other further ado, I want to make sure I get our guest on here today. Let me see if I can, because I know he's going to contribute to that learning continuum. This is Dr. John Lee, everyone. If you haven't had a chance to meet Dr. John Lee, like I haven't up until this moment, how you doing, John?
Good to be here. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
I'm super excited to talk with you, man. Like you said before, we've been going back and forth on Facebook a little bit. We've got some good friends in common. Dr. Dan Bronstein, obviously, and then my buddy Brian Smoot, man. That's guys. Both of those guys near and dear to my heart. So glad to see that you're helping them a lot, and they're getting great results. They can't speak highly enough of you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of what you're doing.
Sure. And you guys can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So first, thanks for having me on. Always happy to, talk to chiropractors and help them further their career and their practice. So I've been in practice 23 years, and I practiced in Irvine, Southern California. I went to Palmer West, and have had a very long, fulfilling career, and had some challenges, which I'm happy to go through and kind of share my struggle and my journey.
Sure.
But now I do have really a dream practice set up where I work half days, just 3 mornings a week, while still having a great thriving practice with associate docs and an awesome team. And so now I coach doctors how to do that across the nation on how they can get to their dream practice much faster. And I've taken definitely the long, hard, arduous road to get to my dream practice.
Sure.
But I'm excited that I can actually teach docs how to get to their practice, dream practice, much quicker these days.
Well, let's just dive into it, man, because I always want people to get a little bit of stuff that they can take home and use tomorrow or Monday morning, from all of these talks and that type of thing. I know you said that you really learned 3 key systems when you first started getting coaching that have helped you tremendously. Can you touch on those for us?
Yeah, of course. So, after first 4 or 5 years of struggling as a chiropractor, as many of us do, we hit that real world and we know that we don't really have those business skills to make
Sure.
it. So I really kind of floundered for about 5 years. And then I met my wife, who we're still happily married, have 4 young kids. And when I met her, I knew that I needed to take my career more seriously and stop messing around and treating chiropractic like it was a hobby. So I actually reached out to my old doc that I was an associate for, and I asked him who his best coaching consultant was. And so he led me in that consultant's direction. And that coach identified 3 key things that I was doing wrong or not doing, even though my first senior doc that I worked for taught me all those things. When I went out to become an independent contractor and just kind of had my own little space, I kind of just threw all that out the door. And I thought I was going to reinvent the wheel, that I was going to do things my way. Well, my way wasn't working. So those 3 things that this coach identified was that, one, I wasn't doing a proper, like a day 1, day 2 deep patient evaluation. I had learned that again from my senior doc, but I was actually handling everything on day 1. I would consult with them, take their x-rays. I remember this was back in the day of actual x-ray film. I was doing full spine, Gonstead style markings, and I would literally mark those in front of the patient with a ruler and a pencil and all that, and then go right into recommendations. And honestly, it was just too long an appointment. It was just information overload. I already sat down, asking questions, doing exam, and then going to all the results and findings, answering more questions. It was like a long appointment. And so that was a mistake. And so that coach told me that, hey, I need to take the information, analyze it, come up with a treatment plan, present it on the next visit. So that was one key thing. And then also, I wasn't offering any types of varying care plans or treatment plans. Everyone got a cookie cutter approach. Everyone got 24 visits, because back then my confidence was low. So I thought, hey, if I just throw them 24 visits, 3 times a week for a month, twice a week for a month, once a week for a month, everyone's going to pretty much go for that. And they did. And I also let everyone pay per visit. And back then it was $45 an adjustment. And that's all I did, no modalities. So obviously everyone started to care, but it was foolish to not give different care plans, because everyone had different problems.
Sure.
So I was trained that I need to have different varying care plans for different severities and patient types. And then the third system was that I wasn't offering any types of payment options other than pay per visit. So doing that was a game changer. So after those 3 systems were, put into my practice, I literally doubled from seeing about 50 visits a week to 100, 120 in just 1 month. And then that really just opened my eyes that, okay, I need systems, right? I need to stop reinventing the wheel, and I need to learn from the experts and mentors before me, learn all the systems, plug them in, and then my practice will take off.
I love what you're talking about, man, with the confidence and certainty, because that's certainly something that, I continue to think about in my interactions with new graduates and students all the time, and how important that is, And so let's talk a little bit about the day 1 approach in terms of, how have you ever looked into doing like telehealth consults or pre-qualification calls as part of your day 1, or tell me kind of a little bit about how the day one process works and that kind of thing.
Sure. No, haven't done any telehealth, but what I've experienced and learned over my career, and also helping docs, is that day one has a ton of value to it. Like that, it's that first meeting, it's the first date. So if you do everything right on the day one, and there's several things to it, you have to ask all the right questions. You have to be really, really focused on the appointment, right? And these are only like 30-minute appointments, but from start to finish, that patient really has to feel like how confident and how sure you are of what you're doing. And that's in how we communicate, the types of questions we ask. Not just asking a canned set of scripted questions, but knowing where to ask more questions. And so I like to call that playing detective on day one. Also, simple things like affirmation statements or assuring the patient that hey, they are in the right place, because sometimes patients don't know, right? They're coming to a chiropractor for the first time, or maybe they've had some bad experiences. So if you're hearing what they have and you're automatically or very quickly realizing, okay, this is another case that could probably help, we should let the patients know that. Okay. And then other things are just confidence, just overall exuding confidence, not in a arrogant, cocky way, but this could be in how you examine them, right? So if you palpate, don't palpate like super light, like palpate like you're going to really feel the problems, and you really have to find where their subluxations are and their problems are at. So through your examination skills, that confidence shines through. And there's other things like if you're taking X-rays, we also incorporate some shockwave testing, typically at the end of a day one, for both the patient's benefit and my benefit too. So I can be very certain that I found the problem areas, but also the patients can feel it too. So there's multiple things that happen that day one, and if that day one goes perfect, I think most patients have already felt confident enough to decide that they really want to continue being your patient going forward.
Can you take us a little bit through some of that care plan determination you talked about? Because I know a lot of new practitioners struggle with that, like how many visits should I be recommending, and like you said, there's a lot of cookie cutter approaches out there. So I'm curious to hear kind of how you're consulting people on how to do that and your approach.
Sure. It really depends on the services that you offer, right? So if, prior to about 7 years ago, what we provided was manual adjustments, electrical stem, EMS, and traction roller tables, right? And that built up a great practice for us. But then once we started to add in decompression therapy, class for laser, and then last few years, shockwave therapy, it really gave us so many more, I like to call them advanced treatment solutions available to our patients, that now we can have a lot more varying care plans, right? Whereas like back when it was, again, adjustments, EMS, and, traction tables, we maybe had 3-4 variations of care plans, right? Like if you put it real simply, it was like a mild treatment plan, a moderate treatment plan, a severe treatment plan. But now with all these advanced treatment solutions, because now we can do a lot more shoulders and extremities and elbows and knees and ankles and feet, you have to have different varying care plans. So we probably now have a good 20 plus different varying care plans that we'll pick and choose from to best suit the patient's presentation of their problems.
So can we dive a little deeper on that? Because I'm curious, like, are you giving everybody like a chiropractic treatment plan initially and then saying, hey, here's these adjunctive things that we could do in addition, or this condition presents and everybody gets chiropractic and shockwave, let's say, or something like that for a shoulder problem? Or can you dive a little deeper into that?
Sure. So I would say majority of patients who come to us, are still typical chiropractic patients. So they have something spine related. And so I would say probably vast majority are getting adjustments at some level. And then, when we x-ray patients, literally, I would say about 90% of patients present with at least a phase 1 or phase 2 disc problem. So the majority of those patients also will get decompression therapy, usually about a month or 2 of decompression at every adjustment visit. And then we decide who needs shockwave and laser. And so shockwave, from our experience, it works extremely well for your typical traditional chiropractic plans, your neck and back and spine problems, as well as helping extremity issues. So I would say now at this point, the vast majority of our patients are also getting some level of shockwave, and that's usually weekly. So that could be anywhere from like 4 to 8 to 12 times a shockwave on the treatment plans.
Okay.
And then laser will figure out if they need it every visit in the beginning. If they're acute, then we do a lot more laser. If it's simply to complement the shockwave, because laser and shockwave go extremely well together. Shockwave breaks things down, and then your body will regenerate. But if you add laser, it goes so much faster, and so
builds it back up.
Yeah. So sometimes there's a 1-for-1. Adding laser to shockwave, but sometimes if there's a lot of pain in different areas, we'll just use it every visit in the beginning, the first month or two.
Okay, great. So are you're talking about like a deep focus shockwave, or are you talking more like a radial pulse shockwave?
Both. So in our practice, we have one focus shockwave machine, a Storz medical focus shockwave, and we have 2 Storz radio shockwave machines as well.
Excellent. So I know you had sent me some notes earlier too about how you'd had this change in business model. Is that kind of what you're talking about as far as the change in business model goes?
Yeah, I would say it was probably the latest evolution. So when I had mentioned that to you previously in our communications, the change in business model initially came about 7 years ago.
Okay.
This was after me grinding it out for years and years and years, having multiple coaches and mentors that I learned from, and then getting to that kind of elusive $1 million practice mark that everyone usually talks about. And so when I got there, initially after like 14 years in practice, I thought I'd be happy, but I was more miserable than ever because I was just burnt out, a slave to my practice, working all day, get there at 7:30 in the morning, leave at 7 at night, 12-hour days pretty much. And at the time, I had 2 kids. They were young, and I was missing out on quite a bit on their lives. So I realized, what's the point of having a very successful practice, collections-wise, if I can't spend the time with my family and I don't let my daughters grow up. So that's when I made the first business model change to work less, work part-time, work just the mornings, and brought in a great seasoned associate doc who's still with me till today. And because I had so much coaching, I had so many systems already in place.
Right.
So I knew that my team and the associate doc could run things in the afternoon without me there. So that was the first kind of big business model change. And then I realized, okay, I can have my work-life balance back. But then the associate doc and I, his name is Dr. Jerome Ladd, we started adding decompression, laser, shockwave. And then we realized, oh, wow, we can help patients better, faster, more effectively, and also even could lower our adjustment output, right? Whereas before we might have had to adjust patients 30, 40 times over, 3, 4, 5 months. We were seeing that those modalities were allowing us to actually adjust a little bit less, which is then less wear and tear, on the body of us chiropractors who typically we have injuries all the time, right? So we were seeing that we're able to work a lot smarter and not harder, and having a great practice, making an impact in our community, but making a good living while we're doing it.
I don't want you to give away too many of your coaching secrets on this call or anything like that, but I do want. I'm curious. Like, take me through a little bit of like the scripting that you use, like on your day one, or maybe I guess we're getting into day 2 more now in terms of like, okay, here's what we're finding. Here's what I think you need. Here's what it's going to look like for you. Kind of moving forward, because I don't think that people get exposure to that kind of stuff enough, right? They need to hear it, like you said. I've been through a number of different coaching programs myself, and it's like when the student's ready, the teacher appears, right? And it's like you got to hear it from the right person the right way. So I'm just curious to kind of see how you're, I guess, consulting your clients to do that.
Sure. So you want to hear about the day 2 more than day 1?
Sure. Let's do. Let's move on to day 2 in terms of how you're delivering. Like, hey, this is what you need, kind of thing.
Sure. So time-wise, I spend about 15 minutes for the day 2. I know a lot of people will spend about 30 minutes, but I don't think that's necessary. And that's one real key thing that I should address first, because a lot of docs do spend that 30 minutes on a day 2. And I really believe if you've made that amazing connection on day 1, that patients don't need all that time and over explanation on day 2. They're ready to go, right? Just give me the most important facts, what the plan is, what it costs, and let's go and start, right? So I would say that first. Make sure your day 2 report of findings is just not long and drawn out, because like in today's society, right, if you go to a specialist, right, a medical specialist of some sort, say like an ortho, a neuro, they're not these MDs are not spending 30 minutes with you to explain stuff, right? They're spending like 5-10 minutes, and they're just giving you options and waiting for you to choose, right? So I think, us chiropractors, we're specialists of the spine and nervous system. So we just need 50 minutes, right? But as far as kind of the framework, I spend probably 5 minutes to explain the x-rays. There's the x-rays kind of behind me. So I'll just do a real quick, concise explanation of their x-rays. And we do full spine. We do 7 views of the whole spine. Go to the most important parts of the x-rays that pertain to their chief complaint. Show them their subluxations. I use models quite a bit, so I'll actually demonstrate. Like I'll actually say, and I do Gonstead markings. So they're all kind of labeled on there. So they can also see that I've taken time to analyze it. But if, say, their C7 is really, really subluxated, I'll actually put the model up and I'll say, hey, your C7 right there is sitting in this fashion.
Oh, I like that.
Right. And they'll see it, and then you see their reaction like, ooh, that's not good. Right. And then I'll explain, so what that does is it'll put pressure on the nerves. That's why you're getting that numb and tingling down your right arm into the hand and finger.
Right.
Also just causes pain, inflammation. The muscles and tendons also get affected. Then I'll show them the discs. I'll show them the lateral. I'll show them what phase degeneration that they're in, phase 1, 2, or 3. And then I'll point to the model degeneration set, and then show them exactly where they're at, and then what that outlook is. Okay. I don't like to spend too much time on the x-rays because, again, it just kind of just blows them out, right?
Sure.
Like they're not really, they're not used to talking about x-rays like that. Then I like to go into explaining how this all ties in to muscles, ligaments, and tendons, the soft tissue. Sure. And I help them to understand that. And that because of that this takes time, right? It usually takes a few months to really resolve these issues. One thing unique that I probably do in my day 2 is I like to give them an estimation of percentages of improvement that we expect.
Okay.
So then I'll say, after month 1, most patients here, and I don't give them like exacts, right? Or like guarantees, but I tell them what usually happens.
Yeah.
At the office, after 1 month of care, most patients are about 50% better. After 2 months, most are about 70% better.
Right.
And after 3 months, most of our patients are about 90 to 100% symptom free. Right. And then from there, then if we go on to maintenance care, then we can help you keep it that way. Right.
I love that, man. I think that it's such a simple, common sense approach. It's like everybody tries to complicate it a lot of times, and like you said, when you go to a dentist and they say you need a root canal, it's not an hour-long educational appointment. It's like, how do you want to pay, kind of thing, right? And I think as chiropractors, if we can get more back to that, it's just going to help us in general and that kind of thing. So I'll let you kind of keep continuing on, because I know people are picking up what you're putting down. I see some new graduates on here, and people are scanning your QR code. So you can go ahead and tell us how you get to talking about, okay, here's what your care plan is going to look like, kind of thing.
Sure. So then I'll explain that, hey, most times this takes 3 months to resolve your symptoms, and in your case, I'm going to recommend. So then I look at the chart. I look at which treatment plan that I've selected for them. And then I just break it down, right? As far as frequency of visits, what we're doing in first month, second month, third month. And I don't try to over-explain it. Again, it just confuses them. So it's really quick. So I'll just do a demo, a role play. So I'll say, hey, Phil, okay, so in your case, we are going to recommend 3 months of care, okay? The first month, and I say, when we do things and how we do things is really important. So in your case, in the first month, we'll have you come here 3 times a week. This is the most frequent that we have you come in is the first month.
Sure.
When you come in, we have to do the following things. We have to do adjustments to your spine. We also have to do decompression for your neck that we saw the disc problems. We'll also do a weekly shockwave therapy to break down scar tissue, and also weekly laser. Okay. You're also going to get stretches to do on your own. And so after 1 month of care, most patients are about 50% better.
Okay.
Month 2, we're going to see a little bit less, 2 times a week, still adjusting. We're still decompressing, and we'll still be doing that weekly shockwave and laser. But now in this month, we're going to teach you strengthening exercises, so to help you support all the positive improvements that are taking place. Now in the second month, we also like to teach you all about workstation ergonomics. Mm-hmm. So we're going to actually have you take some pictures, send it to us, and I'm going to make sure that you're sitting to the computer properly from now. And I do that because 90% of our patients are on computers too much. Right? And after 2 months, you should be about 7% better. Third month, we'll just see you once a week. At that point, it'll just be the adjustments. we might still be doing a little bit of shockwave laser. Decompression should be all concluded by then. And by 3 months completion, you should be 90% or more symptom-free. And then we'll take some x-rays to confirm. I'll show you all the improvements. And then from there, you're in a really good place to move on to what we call maintenance care, which is for most people, the adjustment, maybe a therapy that still works very well for you, but mostly adjustment. And most patients will eventually get to a point where they can come to see us about once a month, and it keeps everything strong and healthy.
That's beautiful, man. I think it's so simple, like you said, and so straightforward. And I think people appreciate that, as well. So it sounds like we have a lot to learn from you, and I have a lot more questions. We're running up against our time here just a little bit. So tell people, how they connect with you, and tell us, where do they learn more about? Do you have seminars available, online training, all that kind of stuff?
Sure, great. Yeah, I'll give you a quick version. So yeah, I think the website address, my email, and that QR code is all on the screen right there.
Yep.
So our website's a great place to start. If you're seeing this on Facebook, you can even message me directly on Facebook, or go to our Alpha Omega business page and message us there as well. The way we help chiropractors is a few ways. We have group coaching and one-on-one coaching. And with that, we have a very comprehensive training course on Kajabi. It's about 200 training videos over 6 modules, and we cover basically everything. Again, I've shared that I've had multiple mentors and consultants, probably about like 7 key ones that I've had in my career. And so all that has been condensed into this Kajabi online training course that took me, a while to put together. But it's basically business systems, business fundamentals, like your meetings, your team structure, how to hire, how to train. Then module 2 is DC training, all the stuff that's chiropractic we have to do better as far as communications, care plans, services. Then module 3 is for the CA training, like phone skills. Then we have a whole marketing section, leadership section, and then an associate doctor section when you're ready to scale and really grow. And so we use that quite a bit to complement the coaching that we do, usually during Zoom meetings like this.
I love it, man. I think we got a lot to learn from you. I'm thinking about myself. Oh, okay, I want to see how he crafts his sales offers, or how he crafts those care plans, and presents all that material. So, but we'll save that for another day. I guess we'll have to either get you back on one of the live broadcasts, or get you on the stage as a speaker for one of our conferences or something like that. So,
awesome.
Thank you today for coming on the broadcast and sharing a little bit with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, let's try to give away a little bit of money here today. This is what everybody comes for. I think. Well, hopefully they're coming for the content. They should be coming from the content, because there's nothing like being in the room or being on the broadcast. You always get more out of it. I know that I just got a little something right now, just about showing those models and how those bones can get misaligned, kind of thing. So, looking forward to integrating that into my my day 1 and day 2 approach. Tomorrow or this afternoon. Might as well get to work as soon as possible. So just as a reminder, before we spin the wheel, we just want to let everybody know, coming up in just about 2.5 short weeks, pediatric conference in Shell Beach, trying to get the room expanded to have a few more people. It is sold out. It's oversold right now. It's oversold. But I think I'm going to be able to increase the room size. The room block does not look like I'm going to be able to increase the room block. So they got to look into some of the other hotels or Airbnbs. Hit me up if you need suggestions. I know the area real well. Some of the motels probably, I wouldn't look at some of the motels, but that's a different discussion. We've got our PI conference coming up at the end of June. Another great property, another great location, great presenters, great content. So, make sure that you're checking in on that if you want to come and network and meet some people in that area. And then the fall conference just before Labor Day, the Disney room block is going to sell out. I can tell you that, because you're not going to get the opportunity to stay at a Disney property for this kind of price. So hopefully you can get on that as soon as possible and come and check us out down in the fall conference. I'd love to see you at one of our events, John, even before we can get you on as a speaker, or maybe like a local thing. You said you're down south, right?
Yeah, Orange County.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Yeah, we'll have to get you connected with the Orange County folks and see if they can have you on maybe as a presenter in their district as well. I think that would be an easy fit right away. So
We'd love to.
Excellent. All right, well, let's bring up the wheel and try to give away some money. So, as a reminder, this week we're going to spin 5 names. We have $500 to give away this week. To win the money, you have to be on the broadcast. You have to respond in the chat within 30 seconds. We had to go to the replay last week. There's still some conjecture about whether the money was won by Dr. Howie Chang. But I'm doing what I can to make it right and settle up for him so that everybody wins, and we still got some money to give away today. So, Tiffany, let's go ahead and spin the first. Do this first spin. Barbara Weldon, you are our first winner. Let's see if you're here to collect your money and your prize. I'd be curious too, John, to hear some of the folks that you've coached with over the years that gave you some of those the tips and tricks. Are you willing to share that?
Oh yeah. But my first coach, the biggest mentor, and he's still coaching, is Dr. Charles Gibson, Chuck Gibson.
Oh yeah,
for
sure. Chuck's a legend, man. I've known of him for a long time. You know, my dad was the chairman of the board at Life West for many years, and worked with obviously the Life East board a lot in that regard too. So, you know, that's one of those things where, you know, Chuck's done a lot for the profession, I know. So I'm wondering if Barbara Weldon is here with us today, just trying to see if she says that she's here to collect the money. Getting some noise in the chat that she's here, but I don't know if she's responded. The 30 seconds, did she get in within 30 seconds? That's the key. It sounds like the chat is saying that Barbara is here and she responded in a timely fashion. I'm on a little bit of a delay, so it's hard for me to tell. So it sounds like we have a winner today. Congratulations, Barbara Weldon, on winning the money. Congratulations. Thanks so much for being here with us on the broadcast and responding in a timely fashion. It looks like everybody's been real supportive of you winning the money. So it's always fun when we can give away some money, John. I guess you're a good luck charm, man. That's awesome. So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for being on the broadcast today. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to connecting with you further, and see you soon.
Thanks, guys.